The squirrel was magic!
Beware your human heart. Welcome to the Diabolical Index, Episode 2. This is the non-entry edition. I'm Corey Dawson. We're coming to you live from the Paradox City Books and Games in Rising Sun, Indiana. And tonight's pretty special. We're going to end up going through a what they call a fantasy forest book, The Dungeon of Darkness. It's going to be a lot of fun. For all of you coming to us live, we ought to have you on there making decisions and deciding your fate. And you probably haven't guessed this yet, but I might get a little bit dramatic with this one. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what might happen, but first things first. If I didn't already, I want to thank Andrew Moore for bringing out the Magic Squirrel Network and having the Diabolical Index on again. And everyone who's going to end up tuning in, I appreciate you coming out and having a little bit of fun. This is going to be a little less serious than normal because we're delving into the world of our childhoods and the what they call the game books of old. This is from 1984, actually. I would have been 7 when this came out, which makes sense. This looks like something I would have picked up at the book fair, but it ought to be fun. But literary history today, February 12th. There's a very important person born today. Judy Blume. I was going to say of Deadpool fame, but anyone who's seen the movie knows, you know, "Are you up there, God? It's me, Margaret." Judy Blume wrote that, and she was a big legend in the children's book arena, and she kind of paved the way for many female authors during that time, and they're still kind of controversial to this day because they didn't patronize kids, and they brought out sexual situations and emotional situations, race, things like that. That was a good time. The 70s and the 80s, that was a big time for giant leaps forward for children's literature. And if someone's born, someone's got to die. Peter Benchley died on this day. February 12th. Peter Benchley, the author behind the blockbuster movie Jaws. I believe he had something to do with writing that screenplay as well. And a couple other movies came of his books. The Deep and The Island, they were all ocean-based, and the brutality of the ocean, of the deep, different animals, denizens of the ocean, would come out and attack the protagonists, and sometimes become antagonists. And there was sometimes, a little bit of an ecological message and a statement. Usually it was just brutality towards humans, and there was probably there was a little bit of spite there, a little bit of a vengeful attitude towards the way that we treat the world. But there you go. Literary history. Okay. So, trying to get a few of you on here. Is anyone on yet?
One person on right.
All right, one person. Right on. Die hard. That's the way we do this. But get a little sip here because I could totally get dramatic on this thing. But okay. So we have the Fantasy Forest. Dungeons of Darkness, and this is kind of poised to be a little bit of a simplistic one this time around. Wanted to give it a shot and see how it worked for the first time before we went too far. So this might be a little bit juvenile, but then again, so am I. So that ought to be fun. So, Dungeon of Darkness by John Kendall. A Fantasy Forest book. Pick a Path to Adventure, number 5. I kind of wanted to go off. I didn't want to start with a choose your own adventure because, you know, I don't know. I want to mix it up. That's the way we do it. And there's a cool illustration just starting it out right here. If you can get this. I don't know if you can get it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, it begins with a warning. Stop! Don't turn this page yet. You're about to set out on not one, but many great adventures. Here's all you have to do. To start your adventure, turn to the first page and begin. Read until you come to a set of choices. Pick one and follow the directions. As you read, keep making choices and following directions until the story ends. Then start at the beginning again and pick other choices. Each one will take you on a different adventure. So, all right. Go ahead and turn the page. Here's another wonderful illustration. I didn't want to go through this without having you see it just as I see it because, you know, I always love the part in the picture pages where they illustrated all of the stories as they went along. But it looks like some kind of cowled figure. Can't tell it looks like the horse has fallen over. But we begin. Nightshade soldiers are attacking, a villager yells. Run for your life! Bandits and pig-faced orcs ride through the dirt streets. They wear the uniforms of the evil skeleton wizard Nightshade. Hide, your mother orders. They might not notice a young man. You crawl out of the side window and climb the tree at the side of your cottage. Come, Shadow Rider! Let's see how you like the feel of my mace, your father shouts. You feel proud of his bravery as he knocks the Shadow Rider off his horse. But surrounded and on foot, he has no choice and no chance of defeating the raiders' leader. He is soon captured along with the other villagers. A shiny red jewel falls from the Shadow Rider's armor as he hits the ground. It rolls under firewood stacked nearby. Come, raiders, let's take these slaves back to Nightshade, the Shadow Rider says. To the Dungeon of Darkness! And away the orc and human raiders went. Crying, you climb down the tree. You don't know what to do. Here's another illustration. It's actually kind of a two-parter. I don't know if you can see both of those.
We got the one on the big one. Back it up. Yeah, there we go.
All right. A sparkle of light catches your eye, and you remember the jewel that rolled under the woodpile. You reach under the wood and find a brilliant red stone held by 2 metal dragons on a broken chain. Strange words are printed below the dragons. Their trail leads this way, a deep voice says. You see armored warriors ride toward the village. Your heart pounds with fear. Nightshade's raiders have returned. You shove the necklace inside your pocket and turn to run and hide. Young one, what has happened here? A kindly voice stops you. Turning to look, you see a knight with a golden dragon on his shield. He rides a large white horse and leads a band of humans, elves, and dwarves. We shall not harm you, the knight says. I am Sir Gregor, Knight of the Golden Dragon. What is your name? Me, you reply. Nightshade's evil soldiers raided the village and took everyone to the Dungeon of Darkness. I escaped hiding in a tree. We can't leave you here alone. But the great danger will threaten us on our journey, the good knight warns. I'll risk any danger to free my parents, you say. The warriors cheer your brave words. Our company has sworn to fight Nightshade and is evil wherever it threatens, Gregor tells you. Jump up and ride with me while we continue to track the raiders. The company follows the raiders until just as the sun is setting, the trail divides. The hoofprints of the bandits' horses go one way through the forest. The orc boot prints lead to a cave opening. The good knight talks with Harbold the dwarf and Quick Arrow the elf. Then he says, "The enemy is split into two groups. By the footprints, we can't tell which have taken the prisoners, the orcs or the bandits. Half our company will go with Harbold to track down the orcs. Quick Arrow's group will chase the bandits through the forest." Then the good knight turns to you. "I don't know which way your parents were taken. Which way will you go?" Here's the illustration here. So now the choice begins. If you go into the cave with Harbold and the dwarves, turn to page 23. If you follow Quick Arrow and the elves into the forest, choose page 52. Make your choices. We'll give it just a moment here.
See what people say. Actually, talk to them, make sure that they know that what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, if you're just coming in, a young one has been set upon in her village by the orcs and the demons under the Nightshade's armies. And the village has been taken to the Dungeon of Darkness. So you have a choice. You can go to a cave with the dwarves and their leader Harbold on page 23. Or you can go with the elves and Quick Arrow into the forest and choose page 52. Or if you want to make it easy, you can pick dwarves or elves. Choose wisely. I also want to put out a quick plug. Myself and James Grant of the Main Street Lurkers should be on Rad Entertainment sometime this week. I'll be putting up updates for that. We ended up being on a game show called Not Your Parents' Guide Trivia. It was a game show about the IMDb Parents' Guide for profanity, language, nudity, sexual situations, and violence. All the fun stuff on movies. So we had to pick our way through that labyrinth of clues to figure out what movies they were talking about. So that ought to be quite fun. And apparently there was so much footage that it's taken a few days just to edit it down. So we'll see what comes out of that.
We got Spencer said cave and Paul said 52.
Okay, so it's a tiebreaker. We need someone to break the tie. We've got one going into the forest and the other one going into the cave.
I'll pick the dwarves. I like dwarves better than mine.
Okay, so Andrew comes in and picks the dwarves. We're going to page 23. And there's a very awesome illustration here. I definitely don't want you to miss that. I'm not sure, something crazy. All right. I'll choose the cave, you say. Dwarves are experienced miners, the good knight says. Harbold, why don't you and Rolf Ironarm lead the way? Going with you are Trouse the halfling, Nilla, who is a magic user and the only other female in your party, and dwarf and human warriors. Just as the last dwarf enters the cave, the sunlight vanishes. You hear a big crash behind you as a huge boulder blocks off the cave entrance. Luckily, the dwarves have already lit several torches. "Look! There's an ogre!" Harbold yells. In the torch's flickering light, a giant monster roars its delight. "Aha! Lunch!" the beast yells. The ogre is faster than anyone expects. It swings his club before they can raise their shields. "Duck behind that big rock!" he shouts to the warriors. Harbold and the good knight hold off the evil creature with their weapons while the company runs to safety. Rolf, only 3.5 feet tall, dodges under a swinging club and hits the ogre with a hammer, knocking the beast to the ground. You sigh with relief. With the ogre down and knocked out, here's a good illustration here. I can't resist it. I got to show everybody this stuff. It's neat looking. Yeah. With the ogre down and knocked out, the warriors surround it, and the dwarves tied up with rope from a dwarf's backpack. Your party leaves the ogre and moves deeper into the cave, always going down. Soon you come to a fork in the tunnel. The left branch is carved out of solid stone, Harbolt says. It stretches farther than my detection spell will reach, Nilla, the magic users, tells the group. The right fork opens to a cavern, Rolf says. A number of openings and paths lead from there. The dwarves vote for the long stone tunnel on the left. In such closeness, it would be easier to defend a company. But the humans believe the cavern on the right would give you more ways to escape a trap. You decide to turn left and follow the stone tunnel, you go to page 46. Or, you turn right and explore the cavern of paths, you go to page 64. Yeah, there weren't any more illustrations there, but hopefully you can see the choices.
Oh yeah, zoom in over a little bit more. There we go.
But I'll repeat them anyway.
Go ahead. We got 164.
Ooh, all right. People are getting into it now. 164. That's the Cavern of Paths. So the choices are turning left to follow the stone tunnel, or exploring the Cavern of Paths. You've come across you went into a cave and came across an ogre, and a boulder came down behind you and closed you in. So you were stuck. So you have two choices. The stone tunnel or the Cavern of Paths.
He said, "Cavern, baby."
Cavern, baby. All right. So is that 2 for the Cavern of Paths?
Oh, no, same guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody come in and challenge him. All right, this is fun. People are getting into it. It's because we're all children. Everybody here is listening to this thing is a child. Don't even start playing. Everybody knows that, you know, you turn into a child as soon as you start listening to me on this thing, and probably when you listened to me last Monday as well. Any tiebreakers?
Mm-mm.
How many people we got listening?
It's Big and Curly.
Oh, Big Curly? Cool. So Big Curly's in right now? Awesome. Yeah, James Grant, Big Curly. He'll be there sometime this week on Rad Entertainment. It's neck and neck. I'm not gonna spoil how it goes because it's a fight, that's for sure. An amicable one, but a fight nonetheless. We get pretty serious when it comes to movie trivia around here, as well as book stuff too. But you know, multifaceted. With eyebrows like this, you have to be. But hey. Stone Tunnel to page 46, or the Cavern of Paths to page 64. What do we got? I'd have to say personally, I would always explore the Cavern of Paths myself, but that would probably end up getting a guillotine in the neck. I have no idea. I've got bad luck at this stuff sometimes. I can be kind of a berserker. But,
I think that might be TJ.
well, maybe TJ's got a vote too. We may have a new onlooker coming in. Paradox City Books and Games. We'll see.
We have a 64. 64?
Just one?
Paul said 64.
Okay, so that's 2 for the Cavern of Paths.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. We're going to 64. Okay. Here's the illustration here.
There we go. Go up a little bit. There we go. That's the key.
You take the fork into the cavern. All around you are high walls of stone with openings here and there. It's a gigantic maze, Trouse the halfling says after scouting it. You choose a path and you're soon winding your way through its turns. Just in case you need to find your way back, you tear bits of cloth from your tunic and drop them every few feet. Hansel and Gretel action. Then you hear a roar and a clatter of hooves. Coming towards you is a creature with a man's body and the head of a bull. Oh. Minotaur. It's a Minotaur, the halfling cries. The creature charges the company. With its deadly horns, it lifts and throws Trouse and 2 warriors against a stone wall. Don't let the monster use his horns on them, says Gregor. He wounds the beast with his broadsword. The other warriors attack the terrible man-eater, driving it off through the maze. The monster is badly wounded, Harbold says. It will go back to Nightshade for help. We can follow its hoofprints right through these twisting paths to our enemy. The company keeps following the maze. And you can see a picture of the little one here. Still dropping pieces of your tunic to mark the path, you come to the end of the maze. Across from it, you see a dungeon door. Before it lies the Minotaur, dead. This must be the right way, says Harbold. Quietly, you pass through the unguarded dungeon door. Seeing no guards, you all search the prison cells. When you find your parents, you hug them. Then you quickly set them free along with the other villagers. You run back to the cavern and discover the door is no longer unguarded. Beyond the doorway, green lizard men block your escape. Harbold swings the door closed ahead of you. Then Rolf slams the door behind you closed. Nightshade's bodyguards coming from the dungeon, he yells. You are trapped. The lizard men hate all humans, good or bad, Gregor points out. Perhaps we could trick them into attacking Nightshade's human soldiers. Stand back, everyone. At exactly the same time, Rolf and Harbold open the 2 doors. Nightshade's soldiers run in from the prison and lizard men stream in from the cavern. A battle is underway. And it looks like there's a picture of the battle starting here. Good? Hey, man. We have a new onlooker entering the fray. TJ from Heckles and Horrors just stopped in. I knew he couldn't stay away. No, there is no interruption to a battle like this. The fighting creatures don't notice you as your company sneaks out the dungeon door and across the cavern to the maze entrance. If we follow the maze, we'll become hopelessly lost, Harbold says grimly. We can't follow the Minotaur's footprints anymore. We've covered them with our own. If only Nilla could contact the other half of our company, says Gregor. He bends over the weakened magic user. But the detection spell used all of her strength. A magic charm would restore her power, says your father. That dragon medallion the Shadow Rider wore would have worked. At least I gave him a few bruises for it. You reach inside the pocket of your tunic and feel the necklace. You have 2 ideas that might help. Oops. But there's time to try only one. Will you suggest following the pieces of the tunic you left along the maze? If so, we turn to page 12. Or will you show everyone the dragon necklace? Turn to page 50. So, looks like going back the way you came, which doesn't sound very good to me. I don't know. Or show the necklace from the dragon medallion the Shadow Rider wore. Not exactly when she stole that, but I guess that when the horse is on the ground, she must have snapped it up, before or after she got in the tree. Yeah.
What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, man. What do you think? Yeah, of course, perfect. You're the perfect guinea pig. Are we going back to where we came, Hansel and Gretel style, along the maze, looking for the tunic pieces, or are we showing everyone the dragon necklace that could get them out of this?
I say we move forward and show the necklace.
2 for necklace. Yeah, got 2 for necklace on the live stream.
Okay, so it ends up being 3 for the necklace. Anybody want to go back to where we came? You know what? Now that we have the option of going back to where we came, now I'm kind of wondering about the necklace. What if he puts it on and it just like turns him into a skeleton or something? What if it's a bad move?
Probably turns him into it's a dragon necklace.
Yeah, it's a dragon necklace, so it might turn. I don't know. It's hard to say. That's a tough one. Yeah. Any more coming out? So the Minotaur's, I think the Minotaur's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
The Minotaur's dead, and the lizard men are all kinds of boar people.
Dead. I don't trust them.
Yeah, he could have been just kind of like resting. Minotaurs rest.
Yep.
I was going to make some sort of bull joke. You know, like if they act like they're dead, it's all just a bunch of bull. But I decided not to. Wait a minute. I guess I just did it. So where are we now?
Same.
Same. 3 for the necklace?
Well, 4 if you count me. So.
Oh, 4 for the net. Ooh, we got, people in the house that want to. Okay. Well, return to page 50 then. I got a bad feeling about this.
I do too, but that's the feeling you gotta go with.
Okay. Do you mean this red necklace? You ask your father. You pull it from the pocket of your tunic. I thought it might be important. Your father and the good knight stare at you in surprise. You may have saved us, your father says. Concentrating on the necklace, Nilla not only gets her strength back, but she also contacts the other member of the company through a thought message. Sorry.
Through a thought message.
The thought message. She contacts everybody through a thought message. Okay. Minutes pass as Nilla waits for a response. By this time, the battle has moved into the cavern you're standing in. The enemy! Get them! Cries an orc in uniform. Suddenly, 2 familiar faces appear in the doorway leading to the dungeon. Silverfoot the elf and Zil the warrior rush to your aid, swinging their swords. Up the stairs and keep your heads down! Shouts Zil. Quickly, you all run back through the doorway and escape through another dungeon passage, safe at last. The end. All right.
We made it.
However, you want to go back and try the other side?
What,
We have to.
see what happens when we go back for the tunics?
Actually, we may have to go back all the way. Let's see. You want to go left? Remember back when we had just... let's go back to when we had knocked down the ogre. One of the dwarves really just, got this ogre good. And he was laying there. Anyway, I'll show that illustration again. So we're going to go back to this with the ogre put down for now. And it was the old stone tunnel versus the cavern of paths. And I think we took the cavern of paths.
We did.
Okay. So now we're going to follow the stone tunnel to see what happens now.
Yeah,
We're going
to go.
we're going back in time just to see what the other options would have led us to. Because I mean, this is a diabolical index. So if everything turns out all right, it's not quite good enough. We got to see some carnage here. So we're going to page 46.
Hey, we made it through our first try though.
That's true. Oh my god. Okay, this is awesome. The stone tunnel is so narrow, you must march 2 at a time. After a while, you ask, "What's that digging sound?" Suddenly, the wall behind you bursts apart. In the dim torchlight, you see a black insect-like creature attacking your company. Harbold cries, "It's an Umber Hulk! Run for that clearing ahead!" I have never heard of an Umber Hulk, but I like that. Rolf pulls you away just as the monster's sharp claws lunge towards you. The company races toward a small opening in the tunnel, but the powerful creature moves quickly and blocks your way. "I'm weak from casting that detection spell," Nilla cries. "I can't use magic against it so soon." Do you want to see what the Umber Hulk looks like? It's pretty wild.
That is nuts looking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a bird.
Yeah. I can't use magic against it so soon. "Then we'll use our weapons," Gregor says. He swings his sword at the monster. "Don't look directly at it," warns Harbold. "That monster has magic." But its 4 squinty eyes have already trapped its victim. The good knight now stands confused and helpless. The Umber Hulk's claws reach out toward the good knight. Dashing forward, you thrust Gregor's shield in front of him. Instead of your leader, the giant claws now crush the shield. With an angry snarl, the monster's jaws snap at the 2 of you. "Oh no, you didn't!" Harbold roars. All right. He's got some sass. He swings his battle axe from one side, while Rolf throws his hammer from the other. Stunned by the blows, the creature jerks his head away and drops the shield. The dwarves then drive the monster off down the passage. Gregor shakes his head free of the monster's spell, and Nilla holds her fingers to the sides of her head. "I sense powerful sorcery," she says. "It's coming from the Umber Hulk's tunnel. A magic weapon of some kind. It could be guarded by the rest of our insect friend's family," Hardboiled argues. Oh, there are 3 this time. But it might take us back. Let's see. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Make sure we're not going the same direction. Okay. Let's see. I got another illustration for you. This is kind of a 2-parter. Let me know if you can see it. So this is them in that little arena where they had to deal with the Umber Hulk. Okay, so the question is, let's follow the trail of magic to the weapon and turn to page 17. Why don't we keep going through this tunnel, you say? Turn to page 14. If you think both decisions are too dangerous, let's return to the cavern, which I think is the cavern of paths. So we'll just ignore 64. So if you want to follow the trail of magic to the weapon, we're going to go to 17. And if we keep going through the tunnel, we'll go to page 14.
17 or 14?
You know everybody's going to pick the weapon.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the sexier of the two, I guess. And you know what sells. So, I mean, why else would I wear a robe like this and my Eye of Agamotto? Looking pretty rock, and I have this too.
We got 114.
So if TJ wants to be twice the man that he is, I can just go, Alagapocus, and get him, and he'll be done.
Sign me up.
But, could he truly be twice the man he is? I'm not sure. He's already quite up there. By the way, Heckles and Horrors coming up again this Sunday, 9 o'clock? 10 o'clock?
I was going to say, can we do it Tuesday instead?
We can.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday. Schedule change.
So you're talking about tomorrow? Tuesday tomorrow? Tuesday next week?
Yep.
Okay. Next Tuesday, Heckles and Horrors. Do you have any idea what the topic is going to be?
Not yet.
It's going to be a horror movie.
To be announced.
I know that,
What
right?
were we going to talk about?
I mean, you're not going to switch over to like romantic comedy or anything. It's going to be a horror. It's going to be a horror something, and it seems like normally you go for kind of like the newer stuff. You ever go backwards?
I plan to.
Okay.
Just these first couple episodes have been newer stuff, but I do plan on doing
Which is good, and that's how I wanted to start out the Diabolical Index too. I found a book that was porcelain. I don't know if anyone checked that out, but totally recommended. Go to leftpress.com for that one for the pre-sale before March. But that was brand new, hot. I mean, it's going to be hot off the presses in March, so it was actually before the fact. So yeah.
Talk about it. I really want to read that one myself.
Yeah, it was intense. There was I didn't want to bring up it because I couldn't get over. If I was an author, I wouldn't want somebody constantly saying, "Hey, that book you just put out is just like this or it's just like that." And I understand that when it comes out, they have to be able to kind of like assign it a classification so people who have never read that author can kind of say, "Well, if I like this, I might like this." But in that, I mean, there are a lot of things that kind of make you think. But I guess it's with a lot of horror stuff, there is a lot of relationships with the characters and like a history of maybe getting away from something or betraying something, like I Know What You Did Last Summer style or that type of thing. So I mean, it's got all that stuff, but you're not going to be prepared for what happens. I know that. I was taken aback by a lot of the stuff because, not that you weren't already prepared that there was going to be some visceral stuff, but I read it and I was like, whoa! All right, so that was cool. I like that. What do we got?
We got 114, 117.
114 and 117, another deal breaker?
And then I think we
Another
were gonna
tiebreaker?
go with the weapon.
I know you guys are going for the weapon.
Oh, yeah.
What's Big Curly doing? I'm curious about what James is picking.
He said 14. He said
14?
Yeah.
Going through the tunnel? What a guy. He's got to go for the he's going to go for the soft option. But I think only he doesn't want to turn the tide towards he doesn't want to run with the crowd. Big Curly, keeping it real. Okay, well, I guess we're going to follow the trail of magic to the weapon unless Nilla does some more thought messages. Page 17. Hope it's got a cool illustration. I still say this is a trap, growls Harbold as you walk through the Umber Hulk's tunnel. We know you dwarves don't trust magic, Gregor says, but we need more power. After a few hundred yards, the tunnel opens to a large stone chamber. Torches flicker on the walls. This must be one of Nightshade's main dungeons, says Gregor. This way, says Nilla, holding out her fingers to follow the magical vibrations. As you approach a staircase, she stiffens. An enemy blocks our path, she warns. An old man appears coming down the long flight of steps. He groans loudly as he moves. His white beard and long hair make him seem frail at first. Then you realize you can see the stone steps right through him. It's a specter, Nilla says. It must guard the magic weapon for the Nightshade. Don't let it touch you. Its energy drain can kill. You're a magic user, Rolf Ironarm says to Nilla. Why not use magic on it? She shakes her head. I don't have any spells strong enough. Only daylight would make it powerless. She's useless. No, that's not true. Okay, so you want to see the specter guy? The transparent old man. And I'm not sure he's got clothes on. Kind of looks like his... No, he's got some kind of shift on, I guess. The specter floats closer to you in the darkness. It groans again, louder than before. Then you notice the Goodnight's shiny, dented shield. We'll have to make our own sunlight, you cry. Gather all the torches together, you shout, and hold up your shields, swords, and battle axes to reflect the torchlight. The good knight and his warriors do as you ask, and a brilliant light is cast by their shiny weapons. The specter is blinded by their brightness. Run before it recovers, Gregor shouts. Breathless, you reach the top of the steps and enter a room. Finally, some rescuers, cries a voice in the chamber. You look around, but only see an empty room with a beautiful sword sunk into the floor. I knew it, shouted Harbold. A magical wild goose chase. I have been called many things, but never a wild goose, says the sword. Ooh. The dwarves step back in astonishment. But you, Gregor, and Nilla slowly approach the talking sword. You must be Andrical, says Nilla. That I am, says the sword. Diamonds sparkle along the hilt. The sharp blade gleams in the light. I was created by the good wizard Nim centuries ago. Even though Nightshade tried to destroy me, my power was too great. He can only imprison me here. Andrical, I promise to use your power only to battle Nightshades of his forces of darkness, Gregor says. Then the good knight grasps the sword and pulls it from the stone floor. I know of several hidden passageways in this dungeon, Andrical says. May I lead you to Nightshade's throne room? Let me show you what Gregor looks like, I guess. He's got an interesting headdress. It wasn't what I was expecting. It looks almost like something of the desert, really. It's interesting. So, if you want to attack Nightshade first, let Andrical lead you to the throne room and turn to page 37. You guys are man of action, I know what you're going to say. If you choose to free your parents from the dungeon first, choose 29. So if you're going to release your parents first, or attack Nightshade. Yeah, they were a lot of help during the village raid. I think they pretty much like hit the deck. Although I don't know, the father was doing his fatherly thing and shouting about, you will never taste the bite of my mace and all this stuff. But I think he missed, and I don't know. Yeah, he's old and feeble, or just fat. I don't know. I know the feeling.
So we say the options again real quick?
The options are to let Andrical lead you to the throne room and attack Nightshade, or choose to free your parents from the dungeon first. But let me go ahead and make sure we didn't already do that part. No, we didn't.
James said attack.
Yeah, baby! James Big Curly steps in and wants to attack, flat out. Hey, this is pretty good. I thought that it would be kind of going back the way we came a few times, and so far, it hasn't. So, how are we doing on time?
We are at
I didn't even think about that.
minutes.
How many?
40.
Awesome. Cool. It's turned out just like I thought. The plan is working to perfection, much like all my plans. Yeah. This is fun. Everybody having fun? I can't hear you. Oh, cool. Yeah, they can answer me. So that's yeah. So I have a virtual audience and I have a real audience. So
We have one for Get Parents. That's Paul.
all right, who's saying get parents?
Paul.
Who?
Big Squirrel.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll be. Is he one of the pointless discussion guys?
He's yeah, Paul.
Well, all right. He's like, well, he's but he's just Paul. I've had people say that to me before. My name has been used as an adjective more than once.
He's the one that talks the most on the podcast.
Okay, so he's the more verbose of all the guys. Loquacious. This is a book-based podcast, so I'll be throwing that vocab at you, whenever I can. Did you check out the Eye of Agmato? What do you think of this?
I did. That's nice.
Yeah. Got that
Go into the camera real quick.
got that for Christmas. Andrew Sefton.
I got it.
Got it there? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's giving me the power. It's giving me the flavor to do all this stuff.
So, yeah, we're tied right now.
Tied with one or tied with two each?
Well, I don't think the parents are useful, so...
Okay, let's say the non-peanut gallery. The non-peanut gallery votes tied with one apiece?
One piece.
Okay. So there's one apiece for the because if you guys don't break, I need some help because otherwise these guys are flat out going toward the Skeleton King guy. Nightshade is gonna get his, except I mean,
Say it again real quick.
it could mean our doom. If you want to attack Nightshade first, let Andrical lead you to the throne room and turn to page 37. If you choose to free your parents from the dungeon first, select page 29. Get those gold breakers out of the Hooskow. Let them out. So, wait. There could be gold. There could be an allowance here. Maybe she has to, yeah. Maybe there's an allowance that maybe she thinks she might get a raise on that. But then again, I mean, you're running through Nightshade's dungeons. She already pocketed that necklace and wasn't gonna. I mean, why is that even a choice? If they're like, that necklace could really get us out of this jam, and she's like, should I go back and try to find the scraps of my tunic, or show them that necklace that has been in my pocket the whole time that I totally stole off a dead body and didn't tell anybody about?
We got, it's James again. I think he said 37.
So she's got some moral great. Wait a minute. Oh no, he was always for the. Okay, he's all about the Andrical. I guess we're going for Andrical. We're going for the action. Going straight to the action scene.
Parents are dead now.
Yes. Okay. Page 37. You asked for it. You got it. My parents won't be safe until you have defeated Nightshade, you tell the good knight. He nods in agreement. Andrical guides you through a secret passageway to the Nightshade's throne room. Standing before the door, the good knight says to the halfling, Troust, you stay here and protect the little one. Then he turns the handle and swings the door open wide. Attack! Harbold yells, and the company rushes into the room. Peeking around the doorway, you watch the good knight and his brave warriors battle Nightshade's goblin soldiers. Although goblins fear Andrical's magic blade, the good knight and his companions are badly outnumbered. Then you see Nightshade lift his arms to cast a spell, but you also see a ray of sunlight peek through a crack in one of the tightly shuttered windows. Troust, protect me from behind! You shout. Oh, boy. You race through the doorway and around the room, throwing open the shutters. Ooh, this is a cool one. Look at this action-packed scene here.
You can go that way. And then up a little bit.
Nightshade getting his just desserts.
Go that way.
I guess this is something like Legend, if anyone's seen the movie Legend. Hit him with the sunlight, and Tim Curry's going to sink into the dark universe. Sunshine! Shrieks a goblin. Blind and weakened, the monsters soon surrender. Laugh, if you will. I don't care.
Bro, it was great. I love the voice.
Okay, I'll repeat it. Sunshine! Shrieks a goblin. Blind and weakened, the monsters soon surrender. Now we'll lock you in your own dungeon, Nightshade, the good knight says. That was stupid. What if there's secret passages? He knows all of them. He'd get locked up in the thing and just press a rock and leave. Stupid. The Goodnight says, and thanks to this little one, the parents and village friends can go free! The end. Check this illustration. Look how downtrodden Nightshade looks. He's not even pissed. He's just... he's so sad. He's like, oh, man. Dagnabbit, talking swords. Okay, so another happy ending.
Is there a bad ending?
I'm starting to think that that we might not get... Although, whoa, I'm like turning through this illustrations and stuff. There's some bad stuff that could happen. Let me see. Now it's a question of finding...
Go back to the one we had 3. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's do the...
Okay. I think that was in the 20s. Yeah. So we had the...
We had 3 choices.
3 choices. And we picked...
Or we can just go back and get the parents and see what happens.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess we could. You know, let's do that. Let's go back and save those stinking parents. Even though I like how offhand she was. She was like, well, now that Nightshade's locked up, let's be sure to free my parents whenever we get around to it, you know. So they don't miss the feast or whatever.
I can't believe we won twice, though.
It's making me wonder. It's really making me wonder.
I'm just telling you, we just gotta attack.
I think that...
Parents.
I think that... I just think that due to the childish nature of this, I wonder if they're going to let you lose. It just seems like everything might have a happy ending here and there.
If we go back to the beginning and choose a different way, maybe the whole story will be different.
I don't know.
I don't know if
Let's do this. This is great. I'm looking at the... oh, actually, let's show this first then. Let's show the picture of the parents in jail and the kids like happily releasing them. Where it's like, you know, it makes you wonder sometimes. I mean, I know what Lucy... Well, Lucy would free me. Lucy would free me. And she'd free Melanie, too.
James said, what if they lock up Nightshade with the parents?
You mean that's what he thinks? He thinks, James, Big Curly said, what if they lock Nightshade up with the parents? So now it's making me wonder. I mean, you could see in that picture... I didn't really look at it. I kind of showed it to them, but I can't remember if the parents kind of like, nah. It kind of looked like that's what they were doing, though. So, but I don't know. Because Meg is, she's crafty. Like, in order, you know, she took that necklace because she thought it might come in handy. But then again, maybe she wasn't thinking about handy. She didn't know what it was. So she was thinking,
She was like, oh, I can sell this.
if my parents, yeah, but she could sell this. My parents might not make it out of this. I'm going to need some place to live. So I'll just kind of... 5-finger discount that thing. No, this is a great sentence. I want to free my parents from this awful place. You decide. As if it was their decision. Andrical guides you to the main prison. I'll scout ahead, says Troust. Soon the halfling returns. The prisoners are locked up close to where the weapons are stored, he says. That's also stupid. I mean, I don't mean to down this book, but, I mean, we can put the prisoners right next to the armory.
Maybe
Bad move.
They said that for the riot, you know? Maybe.
I suppose. Yeah. I guess that's right. Okay.
I mean, that's how D&D works.
Andrew Moore coming out, supporting TSR. I'll scout ahead, says Troust. Soon the halfling returns. The prisoners locked up close to where the weapons are stored, he says. Skeletons, armed with swords, guard the family and friends. The Goodnight lifts Andrical and says... Then we will attack the skeletons while you and the little one free the prisoners. Come, talking sword. Now we'll see how well you fight. The Goodnight swings Andrical with a blaze of magical power and protects you from Nightshade's bony guards. You and Troust work quickly. As you unlock the prisoners, the halfling throws each a sword or an axe. Soon they rush to your companion's rescue and destroy the skeletons. Now the score is even, Andrical, Gregor says, holding the sword high. We have freed you, and you have helped to free the village. The end.
Just end it like that? Another happy ending.
Yep.
Another happy one, huh?
Yep. But I'm seeing some fun stuff in here. There are other things that are happening. So let's see. Maybe you're right. Maybe we ought to go all the way back to the beginning.
Maybe we just chose right at the beginning.
We went with the dwarves, right?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're back.
For good, the elves are asshole.
Okay, so we've gone. Nilla has done her little magical feminine wiles and sent us back in time. So now this is directly after the village has been plundered and kidnapped by the orcs and the skeletons and the ne'er-do-wells of Nightshade's armies. And this time we're going to follow Quick Arrow and the elves. So I guess they must have totally split up, because I didn't remember hearing from Quick Arrow at all. So, like, maybe this is the dividing line. This is where it totally diverts at the very, very beginning. So we're going to go to page 52.
The elves always in that.
I see there's going to... Oh, there's some fun stuff here. Okay, so 52. Like the elves, you prefer the forest. I'll go with Quick Arrow, you say. Then join his cousin Silverfoot, Zill the warrior, and me, the good knight says. The female warrior nods to you and urges her horse on. The elf and human warriors follow. Your half of the company tracks the bandits through the hills until you come to a clearing. The tall grass has been beaten down, and the bandits' campfires are still smoking, Silverfoot says. Our enemy is nearby. Quick Arrow's sharp eyes search the tall trees around you. This would be a great place for an ambush, he says. Just then an arrow thunks into Gregor's golden dragon shield. You all dive for cover. They'll try to pick us off for a while, Gregor says. Then they'll attack. An open field lies between the grass and the trees. We would be cut down in the open if we tried to attack them, he adds. You stare at the coals of the dying campfire. Turning away from the blowing smoke that stings your eyes, you think, could fire be the answer in a forest? Here's a good illustration. That's all right. He's trying to get the illustration together here. Okay.
Looks kind of like that woman they're hiding.
Yeah, sort of. It looks kind of like the mirror image of it. Could fire be the answer? Sir Gregor, you say, if the elves shot fire arrows into the tall grass to set it on fire, thanks, the bandits wouldn't be able to see us. Then we could race out before they have time to aim. Another arrow slams into Silverfoot's shield inches from your head. Maybe it would be safer just to wait? If you attack under a smoke screen of fire arrows, choose page 69. Don't even look at me that way. If you decide to wait for the bandits to attack, dig in to page 41. Okay. So it's trench in and wait for what? For them to get bored and move on? Even these are like undying crazies from beyond the grave. Like they're just going to kind of find something else to do. Or do you shoot fire arrows and catch everything on fire all around you and escape to where in that exactly? I don't know. She is a woman of action, this Meg. So I don't know. We'll see what everyone says. We'll see what Paul and Big Curly and whoever else is on there. So. Okay. So, if you want to pretty much put yourself in the throes of certain death, catch everything on fire around you, and escape in the smoke screen of fire arrows, go to page 69. If you want to wait for the bandits to attack. Oh, I guess you're waiting for them to attack. Okay. So I guess really when you think about it, one is almost like a suicidal berserker move, and the other one is just like waiting for the battle to ensue instead of just, I guess, trying to get them bored enough so they're going to come kill you. And that's page 41. So.
I say dig in.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm very surprised. Andrew said dig in on this one and wait it out, waiting for the battle.
I say kamikaze. Let's just do it.
And not surprising to anyone, TJ says kamikaze, let's do it. So we actually we got a divided room here. You know, I haven't been putting my, I think that, you know, since I can't really put my 2 cents in really, because I'm interested in whatever happens, because, you know, I'm the cloaked narrator of the night.
We got one for fire.
One for fire.
It's Paul.
Paul's in it for fire. He's saying,
Surprise me at all.
light this sucker up. Whatever happens, happens. We'll show our scars with pride and our melted buttocks with much embarrassment after this is all done. Yeah, this is a little bit more lighthearted than my normal thing. That's why it's a non-entry edition tonight, because I won't be talking about like the thematic, tones of classic literature and stuff. I'm slumming it. I'm having fun. Wearing a cloak. I'm wearing a cloak in 21st century Rising Sun, Indiana. So, but I'm alright with that. By the way, this is in Paradox City Books and Games, Rising Sun, Indiana. Andrew was giving me a flack for not, letting him know where I was. So, there you go.
Gotta plug your own store, man.
Yeah, self-promotion, man.
And, public service announcement. Having lit candles in a bookstore, proceed with caution. I'm professional. So, like I said before, if you want to burn your legs, your face, and your under regions while you're escaping...
You set fire to the bookstore, so...
yeah, I'm not setting fire to the bookstore, but if you wanted to set fire to something and... well, I guess, you know what? It's saying that you attack under the smoke screen, so I guess it is kind of like a surprise attack. That's page 69, and wait for them to kind of make their move and jump in. That's 41. What's that now? They said some...
Derby potato said hi.
Derby potato?
Yeah, derpy.
Derpy potato. Okay, that's better. I don't know why it's better. Although now I'm thinking of a potato with a derby, where they can like hang out with Mr. Pretzel, because he kind of had like a top hat. So, I don't know. It's getting crazy now. But I mean, anything can happen in this. Like, I can't say because I don't want to ruin the surprise, but as I'm like looking through all this, I'm actually, I'm very pleased with this so far, because I honestly thought that we were going to make a couple of turns here, make a couple of turns there, make a couple of turns here, and then that was going to be like half the book gone, because it's pretty thin. But there's actually a lot of stuff in here that we haven't gotten to yet. And also, the choose your own adventure thing is kind of bigger now than it ever was before, but in more of a virtual sense. If you look online and you look up kind of like the framework of choose your own adventure, I guess that they do a lot of kind of like writers' workshops where they make, and sometimes it's computerized, and sometimes you kind of like map it out on like a dry erase board or whatever, but there are these kind of like trees that you can make, because I did this once. I've had a writing group for a few years now, and it's kind of metamorphosized into a comic book clinic that I've mentioned never ever gets anything done. But there's so much imagination in there, my God. If someone ever like sat around and transcribed everything and then they put it together, it'd be like 25 comic series that would be making millions right now. That's okay, because those guys are geniuses, and sometimes geniuses aren't practical. But anyway, one time during the writing thing, I made my own interactive choose your own adventure with all the people in the writing group, where I think I actually had them pick things at random, and then they made decisions or whatever it was. But it's more difficult than you'd ever imagine. Like, if you're not doing it, I'm sure that there are computer programs where you just plug stuff in now, but it is a headache. I mean, it seems very, like, when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, here or there, right? But when you're putting it in one thing, and then then you make allowances for all the possible like permutations of what could happen if you're making it complex enough, which I didn't think this was, but I guess it is. So, yeah, choose your own adventure. Underrated in its time.
Derpy wants to know what's with the robe.
What's with the robe? I just got out of the shower. Can't you tell? I shower, no, but yeah. I was kind of like derpy potato. I was just trying to get into the spirit of the thing and put on my cloak. It's because I figure, the slimmer thing, whatever that makes me look, or at least gives the illusion of being slimmer, I'm okay with that. And besides, when I can look slimmer, pull a midnight raid, things like that, I'm down for all of that. And when I'm doing kind of like a theme thing like I'm doing tonight with the non-entry edition for the Pick a Path to Adventure book, I kind of wanted to get into the mood, and I got my magic wand of doom otherwise known as kind of like a table leg or whatever this is. I don't know, but this is pretty cool. But yeah,
So I think we're going with the fire.
we're going with the fire, the flaming legs idea.
But he hasn't said anything yet.
So, does Derpy Potato? Are you the last one in? Smoke screen or fire, or are we waiting for the bandits to attack?
Which one do you want?
Which one of those do you want? I'll give you a few seconds here. It seems like you're into it.
Delay's only 10 seconds, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
It was like 80 seconds last time.
Yeah, we had a pretty decent delay last time when I wasn't aware of it, so I'm sure it got all messed up. So,
That was good.
anything yet out of Derpy Potato?
No, we'll go with the fire.
Okay, we forge ahead.
Oh, bandits. He said bandits.
Bandits?
Yeah. Silver tide, though.
Oh, crap.
So,
I should have known. I should have known. It's a saboteur every time. It's a sabotaging the tie.
yeah, I say let's go with.
Or were you guys weren't in on it yet? Yeah, you were in on it. He said kamikaze. You said, "Are you changing your vote?"
Yep, I'm gonna change my vote so we can keep going. Everyone's gonna die.
Wow.
We need a death.
Andrew's changing his vote to the flaming arsehole or whatever.
You wanna dig it? What do you wanna do? That's where I'll go.
No. I can't do that. I'm the conscientious objector or whatever. Okay. Okay. Arrows hit 2 warriors during that round, Zill, the female warrior, reports. Meg's plan is our only hope. The good knight nods in agreement. Let's restart the campfires, he yells at the elves to gather grass. And here's a picture of I suppose this is Silverfoot getting ready to loose his arrow. Is it even on fire? I don't think it is. Maybe he's got a little underling that's going to douse it with flames. Douse my arrow with flames, underling! Let's restart the campfires, he tells the elves as they gather grass. Archers, form a line by the rocks, you hear Quick Arrow order. Silverfoot, Zill, and Gregor discuss the best way to attack. Then the archers shoot their fire arrows in a ring around the edge of the meadow grass. The good knight remounts his horse and pulls you behind him. Evil has no hope, he shouts, leading the charge. I like that. The surprised bandits have time to fire only a dozen arrows at the galloping horses. Run, the bandit leader cries. We can't spend Nightshade's money if we are dead. They ride away in terror. He's got some mercenaries. Let's travel a few miles to make sure our greedy friends aren't tricking us, Silverfoot says. Finally, you make clamps. Finally, you make camp. Soon all except the lookout fall asleep. Clang! You waken to hear metal hitting metal as Zill battles an enemy next to you in the blackness. If you want to see the enemy, it's this little crazy looking Iggy Pop looking guy with the sword here. Actually, I was kidding, but he looks a lot like Iggy Pop. Okay. Goblins! Quick Arrow yells. We're near the Dungeon of Darkness, Gregor says. Nightshade must have sent his goblin soldiers to meet the bandits. In the darkness, your fighters swing their swords carefully. You know they're afraid they'll hurt a friend by mistake, but the goblins can see perfectly in the dark. The company has little hope. Before the goblins capture him, Silverfoot shoves you into a hollow log. Here's another picture of the fighters getting ready to, it looks like, relax.
It looks like he's putting his sword away.
I'd have to say that, I guess he's drawing it, but it's kind of like, well, I'll just kind of, yeah.
He's getting out there in the most awkward way.
Well, Meg is like totally ready to go, and he's like, well, I guess I'll pull this thing out, but he's got to be an elf. He's got pointed ears. Although I shouldn't assume race, I guess. The surprise attack soon ends. Through a hole in the log, you overhear the goblin chief. Nightshade will be happy, he grunts. He can deliver these slaves to the Dungeon of Darkness. You shiver in fear. After they leave, you wait for a long time, crawled inside the log. When you think it's safe, you pluck yourself out and look around. If you decide to go home, turn to page 44. An empty house, your parents have been kidnapped, you're a coward. Or If you'd rather follow the trail of the goblins, turn to page 30. Follow the goblins or turn tail and run. Make your choice. I'm going to take a look back and make sure we're not retracing our steps here. Okay. 30 is not retracing our steps.
Did we die?
And neither is 44.
All right.
So, if you decide to go home...
Well, I'm no coward. I'm going to go after the...
You said you're a coward?
I said I'm not a coward.
Oh, you're not a coward. Okay. That's what I thought he said, too. I thought he said, well, since I'm a coward, I was like, whoa, no. How can...
Said, follow them.
How can you possibly be a coward? I mean, you decided to have a book podcast on your network, so that's not a sign of cowardice. That's a sign of bravery, my friend. There's no doubt about it. To mix it with all that other stuff, I mean, you got horror movies flying over here. You got pointless discussions going on in a bar. I mean, they're interviewing people, and then the guy with the books. But okay, so Derpy Potato, he said follow the trail of the goblins. All right, so that's one.
We got Paul said page 30.
Paul said page 30, follow the trail of the goblins. Okay, what say you?
I say goblins.
Yeah, we ain't no punks.
YOLO.
We ain't no punks. YOLO, they say. I never utter YOLO ever. That's all them. But they're saying follow the goblins.
Because it's funny.
It is funny.
But
We got 4 so far. Right?
4 for following the goblins.
Yeah, no one wants to go home.
I do have to say though, we may have to return if we follow the goblins this time. We definitely have to go back and see what happens if we go home, because I'm thinking just in the back of my head that cowardice is not going to be good. I just have a feeling that if you leave your parents to rot in the dungeon, you go home with your
Like their parents.
unseen dragon necklace. Because I think at this point, if they haven't gone into that one place, she's probably still hanging around with that dragon necklace in her tunic. So she's gonna be living high on the hog if she goes back there. She might actually become like a lady or like a baroness or something. One of those purchased titles. I can't remember what they are now, but something where you don't even have to be part of a royal line. You just say, hey. I guess it's kind of like Count of Monte Cristo. You can be a countess like that, where you're just like, hey, guess what? I'm rich, so now I'm this. Or whatever. You don't get that if you're poor, strangely enough. But, so are we still on the following the goblins? Any more coming in from the other ranks anywhere?
Nope, just follow the goblins. Derpy said I bet the book ends if you take the coward choice.
Well, I think we've already ended it like 3 or 4 times. I mean, we've had...
He thinks that you'll get killed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, it would almost have to be. Because, I mean, if you're going home, you're leaving everybody behind.
I'm done.
You're saying to hell with all the warriors that have helped you. You say, you just tell them all to go shove it. So, okay, I think we've waited long enough. We're going to follow the trail of the goblins to page 30. Wait. Before I go there, I better... And I've already lost it. I need to come up with a better... I mean, this is our first time, but I need to start marking my page. I'll find it again. I can't run out on my friends now, you say. You turn away from the road home and look directly into the tip of an ivory spear. A creamy white unicorn stands over you. What you thought was a weapon is a single spiral horn on her forehead. Where did you come from? You manage to ask. You're a maid of pure heart, Meg, the unicorn says, somehow talking even though she's a horse. You have braved great danger to rescue your parents and to help your new companions. We of the woodlands know of the good knight's mission. You're amazed to hear the animal speak. I am Erol, she tells you. Come, climb on my back. We have no time to lose. I totally said it just like Adam West. Erol kneels beside the log, and you hop on. She gallops swiftly through the forest and over the rocky hills. Before long, you catch up with a troop of goblins. You hear them curse and complain. The direct sunlight weakens them, Erol explains. The monsters soon reach iron gates set into a cliff. This must be the entrance to the Dungeon of Darkness, the unicorn says. She races towards your friends. Here's a picture of Erol, the creamy white unicorn as described in the book.
Just back it up just a little bit, like that. There we go. Now we can see her one.
He's helping me train the picture in. But I have to say, I don't like to be a stickler. But you may have heard on the microphone. I'm not sure how much you can hear, but you may have heard this cry of Pegasus in there. And no, Pegasus has wings. The unicorn does not. So
That is true.
I don't mean to be a stickler, but I just have a feeling there would have been comments upon comments if we didn't say something. It just would have piled up just like a
That is true.
wagon train.
I know.
But he apologized. He's sorry. He's sorry. And I guess I shouldn't have called him out that it was him, but there are only two other guys here, so what am I going to do?
Give it a Red Bull, get wings. Then.
Erol jumps over the surprised goblins. With a swing of her powerful shoulders, she shoves aside the monster closest to the prisoners. You slide off her back, pick up a goblin short sword, and cut Gregor's ropes. You toss fallen weapons to your friends as they twist free of their ropes. And here's another action shot of Erol and Meg flying to the rescue. Is everything all right? Okay. How well do you fight against warriors who can see you? Zil shouts at the goblins. Before long, you have won the battle. The goblin chief has opened the dungeon gates, Troust yells. He has escaped. And we haven't a moment to lose. He will tell Nightshade we are here, Gregor replies. You mount Erol again, and with the rest of the company, pass through the dungeon gates. They crash shut by themselves. I overheard my guard describe how to get to the prison cells, said Zil. Let's go rescue Meg's parents at once. But I heard the goblin chief talking about Nightshade's throne room at the center of the dungeon, the good knight adds. Should we go right to the heart of evil so we wouldn't have to face more surprises? So this is the choice that we had before, going to the throne room or rescuing her parents. So we've already rescued her parents and faced Nightshade in his throne room. So let's see if I can find.
Just circled back to those same choices?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. So, but I'm surprised it took so long to get there, to be honest.
I think you win either way, don't you?
Yes, yeah, you win either way. So, okay, I think it was 44. So we're going to turn tail and see what happens when Meg puts on the garb of a coward instead of the very plucky, cunning, kind of bloodthirsty little maiden she was for most of this. You blink in the early morning sunlight. How can I possibly rescue my friends by myself, you ask? They're miles away and I have no weapons or powers. As you walk back to your village, you feel something metal in the pocket of your tunic. It is the red dragon necklace that fell from the Shadow Rider's armor. You rub the red jewel and think about your problems. I wish I had gone with the dwarves instead of the elves, you murmur. Suddenly, you feel dizzy. The air spins around you. The magic necklace grants your wish. There you are. And let me show you this is pretty awesome. Let me know if I got it all in there, because this is the crowning moment of what cowards get for their final desserts right here. So she got her wish. She's back with the dwarves in one of our earlier things, except this time she's a coward instead of a warrior. Suddenly you feel dizzy. The air spins around you. The magic necklace grants your wish. There you are, standing in front of the dwarves in a cave, and at the feet of a hungry ogre that swallows you in one gulp, crunching bones and gristle as he went. The end. Yes.
Finally a power.
I wasn't bloodthirsty. I wanted some repercussions, and it looks like we've got them. That's cool.
Derpy was right. He said that.
Yeah, Derpy Potato had it going on. Let's see.
Derpy said, ew.
Well, confession. Since this is a kid's book, it only said, like, swallowed in one gulp or whatever. I embellished a little part. I mean, the guy's got to chew you, or I mean, he's got to pass you, right? He's got to pass you at some point. So he's gonna have to chew that stuff up. I mean, grind your bones to make my bread, right? I mean, you got to grind those things up, or else you're gonna have a hell of a time. So let's see. There is another one. What?
Just put like a.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, there are other things. So, was there a choice that we didn't? There was that 3 one, right?
Yeah, but I thought one was to go back the way we came. We didn't do that.
Here, I found it. Okay. Ooh. Wait. Well, that's the cavern one. Because I found the triple decision one again. And this is right after the Umber Hulk. Were you around for the Umber Hulk? That crazy looking insect gorilla thing? It was awesome.
Yeah,
Should have got here earlier. Huh?
Picture of him?
Yes. So let's look at the Umber Hulk again. It's very unusual.
You didn't lose your page, did you?
Oh, it's just right after it.
Does look crazy.
Yeah, man, I like it. That's my favorite creature in this thing. And at first I thought it was anatomically correct, but that's a tail. So, well, I was like, I know they weren't gonna do it, but who knows? Maybe they were trying to be, maybe they were trying to be edgy. So after the Umber Hulk gets away, it was follow the trail of magic to the weapon, and I think that's what you guys picked that last time. Running through the tunnel, page 14. Let me see if that was a different one than we did.
I don't think we ran through the tunnel yet. That's what your friend went through.
Okay, we didn't.
Oh, yeah,
So I'm going to mark this again so we can go back to it. Thinking. Okay. So 14. Oh, unless you guys want to pick these last 2.
Deformed prey mantis, derp set.
What's that again?
Deformed prey mantis, derp set.
Couldn't agree more. Because really, if you look at it, it's got the compound eyes and the regular eyes. So maybe the Umber Hulk is like a were mantis, where it was a man, and then, or maybe like they were trying to merge a man and a mantis or some other kind of insect thing, and they didn't finish because there's like kind of a human face, but there are fangs too, and that doesn't, fangs does not a herbivore make, so I don't know what happened there, but it's all kinds of crazy. It's a werewolf, mantis, gorilla creature.
Let me look them up. You said it's the same universe as D&D?
Umber Hulk. Yeah, I mean, it's TSR. So it might be in the Monster Manual. Okay. TM. Monster Manual. TM. Trying to save myself from recriminations. Which it won't. They're coming straight after us. I mean, we're on the run. Being in Magic Squirrel Network, we're always on the run. We're fugitives from justice. So, okay. So, do you guys want to go through the tunnel and turn to page 14? This is directly after the Umber Hulk, the Were Mantis Gorilla. Or, if you think both decisions are too dangerous, let's return to the cavern, 64, which I thought was the Cavern of Paths. Yes. So, the only one that we haven't gone through is 14. So that's where we're going. You get no choices. None.
He said,
It's like, what is this? What? Okay. All seriousness is gone. Harbold leads you on through the rock tunnel. Soon to come the big cavern. Glistening stalactites. So if anyone wondered which one was which, this is going to tell you. Glistening stalactites hang from the ceiling, and stalagmites shoot up from the floor. So we learn as we read this. Huge bats squeak overhead. Guano. They're just like slipping all over it. Troust scouts the cavern. Soon the halfling returns, covered with moss and spider webs. A lot of human prisoners are locked in cells along the west wall, he says. There's only one guard. Freeing them should be easy, grunts Rolf. How could Nightshade leave only one guard? Troust shovels his feet and looks back towards the safety of the tunnel. Well, actually, that one guard is a two-headed giant. It's a spear length taller than the ogre back there. You shiver in fear as the rest of the company groans. Your party creeps into the cavern. The giant paces in front of the prisoners. That spiked club in his left hand is the size of a small tree. In one cell, you spot your parents. You want to wave and yell to them. You're so happy. But you can only be together if Gregor can defeat this gigantic creature. If you warriors can keep the giant busy, I can slip past it and free the prisoners, you tell the good knight. A dangerous plan, but we must try it, he says. Forward, brave warriors! I thought you guys were supposed to be quiet here. He's like, let's go! The giant swings his mighty club and batters the good knight's... Oh, I guess he's going for it. And batters the good knight's shield, which is already dented from the Umber Hulk's grip. Now's my chance! Your heart pounding, you sneak behind the two-headed giant. We have an illustration here of these guys kind of making their way through this tunnel.
Get a little closer if you can.
It's got kind of a Roman aqueduct look here. They're mixing all kinds of... I think they're trying to make it placeless, where it could be like anywhere in the world, or like a parallel Earth, because they're all wearing weird stuff. That guy still has... You know what he looks like? He kind of looks like a foreign legionnaire. If you've ever seen that, that's what it kind of looks like. And I think that they were trying to slip some things in here for the parents, I think. Because I'm seeing a lot of, maybe unbeknownst to them, lewd art, maybe? I don't know. Seeing some stuff that could be misconstrued here. By someone without a dirty mind, I guess. I don't know. But you won't find those in their room. So, quietly, you grab the keys from the wall. Look out! Your mother screams from her cell. You duck and the giant's club whistles by inches from your head. Free your friends, the good knight yells. He jumps between you and the giant, fighting it back. You unlock your parents' cell and hug them. Last throw from Rolf Ironarm's hammer stuns one of the creature's heads. It stuns his head. Lost without its partner. The other head... Oh, it's got multiple heads. That's right. Lost without its partner. The other head turns to see what's wrong. Quickly, before the creature's other head recovers, the good knight's company and the people from your village escape back through the tunnel to freedom. The end. Kind of a lazy end, though. There's all kinds of stuff that they have to get through to get out of there. But there's another illustration here, and it did not one time show that three-headed monster that was like a lance's height taller than the ogre. What a missed opportunity. What a jip. I'm kind of pissed about that, actually. But, I mean, at least it showed us the Umber Hulk. I mean, that name is awesome, and that thing was just depraved looking. Okay. Okay, we never went back for the pieces of the tunic. Is it going to be worth it? Probably not. But, we are thorough. If we're anything, we're thorough. So, you know, okay, here we go. Will you suggest that this is when, this is at that point, way back, when we find out that she had the necklace and she wasn't telling anybody, little sneak thief. She totally, yeah, probably the first time through. She had pocketed this thing from the dead. She totally picked over his body like some kind of scavenger, some kind of hyena, harpy, to, you know, take all this stuff from him, and just not bother to tell anybody, even though it's got this gigantic gem in it, and apparently, as we were to find out later, can grant you your every wish. So, we're gonna follow the pieces of the tunic as she entered the maze, back to where she was before. A shattered sword tip flies over everyone's head. The battle rages on. We've got to do something, Harbolt says. They could discover us at any second. We could follow the pieces of my tunic, you say softly. As we went, I left a trail of pieces to follow back out. The others were surprised and pleased. Meg, you may have saved us, your father says, hugging you. To keep the lizard men and or nightshade soldiers from following you, you pick up the pieces of your tunic as you guide your companions through the maze. We'll guard the rear of the party until we're safely outside, Gregor says. Soon you've left the dungeon of darkness far behind. Let us salute the village hero, your father shouts proudly. He's looking out for himself. He wants mayor. I mean, that's why else would you call your... I mean, you got to be humble about these things. Everybody's seen what she's done. You can't go, look at my daughter, the hero! I mean, you got to be like, you know, she fared really well and she's very courageous. You can't... I don't know. He wants that. I think he knows about the gem. He's a punk. You pick up the piece of your tunic as you guide your companions through the maze. We'll guard the rear of the party until we're safely outside, Gregor says. Soon you let the dungeons of darkness far behind. Let us salute the village hero! That piker, your father, shouts proudly. Everyone cheers. Let me buy you a new tunic, the Gold Knight offers. You certainly put the last one to good use. Ha 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 ha! Boisterous laughter all around. There's a pretty good, very, very confusing illustration here, though. They are very cramped. I mean, I guess they're celebrating, but it looks like one of those phone booths from the 50s, where everybody's all shoved in there. And her tunic's all screwed up. And then there's this, I don't know if you can see him. See that little kid in the corner right there? I think he's an orphan. Like, no one's even looking at him. He's just kind of like looking at the ground going, wow, I could eat this gravel, I guess. I don't know. Better than the slop I have at home. Okay, so I guess that's it. I think that we have plumbed all the depths that this book has in store.
We only lost once?
Yeah, we only lost... Wait. Yeah, we only lost once. I think there might be one more thing, but it kind of resembles the other one, so we're not going to go back there. There's not a whole lot of craziness yet to go, so... yeah, so Dungeon of Darkness, a Fantasy of Forest book number 5. Pick a path to adventure. Any more comments from anybody going there?
They're just staying sweet.
Yeah. So I guess the next question is what did you guys think? Did you have a good time going through all this stuff? I've got more Choose Your Own Adventure and Lone Wolf. This actually was. Oh, sorry. Good idea. This Lone Wolf was one of my favorite series as a kid. It was really big on the book fair circuit when I was a kid, and I remember it being pretty hairy for little kids and stuff, and it was actually a little bit more let me give you another one here. Like, they actually have maps and they actually have points, so I can't remember if there were actual hit points and stuff, but I do think that you do have, yeah, you have combat records and the action chart. So this one might be a little bit, we might have to plan this one a little bit further in advance, I think, to take care of all this stuff, because you can collect things and there's a combat ratio and to see how you fare. So I'm not so sure that there's as much choice in this one, because if you go, so you do, yeah, you pick numbers. So I guess there's a little bit of chance. So like you pick a number from what they call a random number table. If the number you picked is this to this, you go to here. If this to this, you go there. So, so it might be one of those things where you're almost like you're picking, but it might be akin to rolling. So you're picking from the random number table, just as if you were throwing a die, and it says whether or not your sword will best the sword of this crazy, whatever. But I've also got some strange ones that I actually picked up because, they aren't your normal thing. They aren't the sword and sorcery that you normally find. They're kind of unusual, so I thought they'd be fun to do later on, as long as you guys weren't totally up for nothing but the sword and sorcery. And I'm going to say farewell to TJ. Thanks for stopping by tonight.
Sorry, I gotta be there. Meet my trainer.
You're good, man. Later, man.
You're meeting your trainer?
Yeah, switch to surveillance.
That's why we had to switch.
Oh, rock on. Awesome. So he's moving up in the world, which I'm sure he would do.
I don't know if you can get this at your bookstore.
I'll be here again next week for this.
Oh, awesome. Yes, any book that I read here for the Choose Your Own Adventure or anything else, unless it's one of my own collection, which if I bring it down here, it probably won't be. But yeah, they'll all be available, reasonably priced too, because I'm not a good businessman. So, but yeah. To answer your question, yes, they will be available. So if you dug that, if you think your kid would like that one, because I mean, like I said, since this is kind of the first non-entry edition with this walking through the stuff, which I think was it ended up being a real blast. I had a good time, and I'm glad that everybody joined in. And this is just the beginning, but we had a few people on there, I think, and along with us kind of hanging out. And TJ says he's gonna come back, but remember, TJ is going to be on next Tuesday for the Heckles and Horrors, doing a horror review, to be determined. So it could be something new coming up. Who knows? Maybe he'll do the Cloverfield Paradox or whatever, but who knows what he'll do? It could be anything. Personally, I have a recommendation. I would recommend Red Eye. It's slipping my mind right now. I think it's Twisted Minds Productions, I believe. But it was featured at the Midwest Horror Fest last year, and it broke a lot of taboos. It went further than a lot of horror movies, especially new ones from first time, very, very young director, producer, writers. They do it all. They wear all the hats, and Red Eye's pretty intense. It's available on practically everything. I think it's on Google and Amazon and all those type of things. So I'm going to suggest it to TJ. But his Heckles and Horrors is next Tuesday in the night. I was thinking it was like 9 or 10. What were you guys going to?
Probably 10.
Somewhere around there. Probably 10.
Dirk wants to know if you have any horror.
Any horror? Since I started doing this, because as you can imagine, like now, these are kind of hard to find as I find them. Because I'm always looking around. In order to support the shop and have it down here in Rising Sun, I have to find them in the out of way places for cheap. So I can't always guarantee what I'm going to find. But since I'm doing this and it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun doing these, I'll probably seek them out, and I would really enjoy finding a horror one. Maybe like I think Goosebumps exists, but I'm not so sure that. Who knows if that would really fall into the horror thing? So.
Somebody wants to buy that book that you held up.
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, Scene of the Crime?
The one that you held up to the camera.
Dungeon of Darkness? Oh, the Lone Wolf. Well, I think I'd like to do that one before I put that one out for sale. But we'll see. You ought to be able to message me, right? You can message me on the Paradox Books and Games Facebook site as well, and we'll talk it over. But the other ones that I've got are, there's a Treasure Diver. There's a Treasure Diver one, and there's a Scene of the Crime, which might be kind of like a mystery CSI type of thing. And this one that would actually be kind of fun, I think would invite a lot of comment, would be You Are a Millionaire. So you may have questions as to whether or not you go on shopping sprees or if you donate to charities and stuff. So it could be pretty fun. But these are some that I found that are kind of off the sword and sorcery stuff. So I got those right there. But yeah, message me about the Lone Wolf. I'm going to kind of look it over and see if it would be more trouble than it's worth to have it on here for kind of like the picking the numbers and stuff. But yeah, let me know. But okay, I think it's been an awful lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun doing this and dressing up and getting crazy. So we'll see. I might make this a normal twice a month thing for the non-entry editions of the Diabolical Index. Somebody saying something there?
He just said it didn't mean for you to read it on. I'm getting Facebook messages. He just said it didn't mean for you to read it on air.
What's that?
The whole behind the book thing.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh well. We have no secrets here.
Derp wants to know where your bookstore is located at.
Derpy Potato. Paradox City Books and Games, located in Rising Sun, Indiana, 207 Main Street. Deep in the heart of a burgeoning Main Street business section. It was kind of falling by the wayside for a little bit there, but we've got a lot of new blood down here, and it's picking up steam. So come down and see us anytime. Normally during the weekends is when we're open, and it's hopping pretty good down here. But we're trying to come up with some new events and bring people in. So awesome. If you're in the neighborhood, you can always contact any of us on the Facebook page and stuff. Sorry I blew it out of proportion. I tend to just I don't have much of a filter. So if something comes up and I'm not used to this, I'll talk about it. But anything else from anybody?
Derp just says, please do more. I want to see more readings.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Derp Potato. I appreciate that a lot. I feel comfortable doing it. I had a good time. So, but I will have my serious sides too. So I'll have the chances are we'll try this again when I'm not on the normal book review and parallel and theme thing that I do. But I want to keep that up because I got a lot of good people interested in me doing that again. But I think it'd be fun to split it up and mix it up with things that I do. So we'll see what happens next time. And as always, I wanted to thank Andrew Moore for bringing Magic Squirrel Network down here to Paradox City Books and Games, Rising, Indiana, for the I guess the second episode of the Diabolical Index. This time it was the non-entry edition. But next time, next Monday at 9 or as close as we can get to it. And I'll probably put up updates to what I'll be doing. I still have to seek out that perfect book or a pair of books to do on that. But yeah. Also, keep an eye out this week for the on Rad Entertainment. Go check them out. You can probably also find things for Red Eye through Rad Entertainment, Garage House Studios, H&M Films, or the Midwest Horror Fest, Midwest Action Fest. For information from Red Eye and Twisted, I think it's Twisted Minds Entertainment or Productions. I can't remember, but Tristan Clay and Destiny Ordenoff, I hope I'm saying their last name right. I might be butchering it, but they're fantastic. But definitely tune in to Red Entertainment this week. Sometime I'll hopefully put updates up for mine and Big Curly, James Grant, Main Street Lurkers all the way. We're getting into it on the Not Your Parents' Guide trivia game show. So tune in for that. Thanks again. Beware your human heart, Diabolical Index, Episode 2. Thanks a lot.
The squirrel was magic!